Okay, we're up to the Mechaber in Siman Yud, Seif Aleph. The Mechaber says, Talis she'in by Dalit Kanfis. If you have a talis that does not have Dalit Kanfis, so it's a talis, it's like a triangle. So, Potter, it's Potter. Yesh lo yoser medalit Kanfis. And let's say it has more than Dalit Kanfis, so it has 5 corners. So the Mechaber says that if you have a kanfis that's like 5 corners, chayavis, it's chayiv, because b'chlal masayim mana included in 5 or 4. What you do is, you have to know exactly what this looks like, but you basically take 4 out of the 5 corners that are the most farther from each other and put the tzitzis on those 4. The Mishnah Berurah adds in Zakutinsky Gimel that yesh poitrin. There are those that disagree with the Mechaber and hold that 5 corners is taka potter lochin ein lasas bas hey lechachila, and therefore one should not lechachila have a beged that has 5 corners to avoid this shaila. By the way, just at one point, we say chayiv, it means you have to put 4 strings on 4 corners. You don't put strings on the 5 corners, because then you'd have 5 corners of strings, which the Mishnah Berurah writes is over mishum bal toisef. Okay, the Mechaber says in Beis, yesh la arba v'chotaf achad ba'alachsain. Let's say you had 4 corners, v'chotaf achad ba'alachsain, and you cut one of them at an angle at the corner. Meaning, let's say you take one corner and you cut it, making like a triangle. So now you'll actually end up having 5 ends, because you have 1, 2, 3, the regular ones, and that 4th corner you cut. So now both ends at the top, both corners of the triangle are now corners. So you technically now have 5 corners. Says the Mechaber, Harinas bailas heis v'chayeves. You're still chayev. The Mechaber says in Gimel, Kafel karnas talisoi. Let's say you take the corner of the beged and you roll it up, so that now it's sort of like a circle at the end. V'kashram itafram, and you tie it or sew it. V'daima kilu kitzon, and it looks like there's no corner, because now it looks like it's a rounded edge. Afal pikin le'nifter, you still chayiv, because you still have 4 corners, even though the last one is rolled up and it doesn't look like a corner, but it's still a corner until you cut the actual beged itself. The Mechaber says talis shel beged. Let's say you have a talis made of a garment, which is chayiv and says this, but the kanfeb, the corner, is shel ar. The corner of the beged is made of leather, which is not chayiv and tzitzis. So the halach is chayevis, because you go basa the actual beged. But the opposite, he shall ar, the kanshvel shall beged. If the garment itself is leather, but the corner is thread, the corner is cloth, potter, because again you go by the ikr of the beged and not the corner. So if you have a material where the ikr of the beged is one thing and the corners are different, you go by the ikr of the beged and not the corners. Sif hey in the Mechaber. Gimel kanfis v'asa behem gimel tzitzias. Let's say you had a 3-cornered beged and you put 3 tzitzis on the 3 corners, and then v'shuv asa l'knaf dalid, and then you made a 4th corner v'asa by tzitzis psula mishum tasa v'loy mina asoi. This is possible because tasa v'loy mina asoi. The Mishnah Berurah explains, what does it mean? Tasa v'loy mina asoi means that you have to make it and it can't be just made on its own. The Mishnah Berurah explains in Zakutinsky you're supposed to put the tzitzis on the 4 corners. The implication being that there have to be 4 corners before the tzitzis. There have to be 4 corners before you start putting tzitzis on. Over here, because you started putting the tzitzis on when there were only 3 corners, then when you make the 4th corner, it already has tzitzis on. It's too late. It has to be there 4 corners. Then you start adding the tzitzis. But if you add the tzitzis while there are not yet 4 corners, then it's a problem. All right, we'll stop here.